Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing good, Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to
Yes.
Srila Prabhupada.
Yes. Yes.
Is this Linda Mataji who is speaking?
No, this is Linda in Tennessee.
Who is this?
Linda in Tennessee.
Yeah, that's what I asked. Is this Linda Mataji who is speaking?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Okay, Mataji. Nice to hear you again. We
Yeah.
were missing you for a couple of days.
Yeah, I know. I know. Yeah.
Do you work, Mataji?
No, I don't. I don't.
Oh.
But I have two very active grandchildren.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh. Wow.
They keep me very busy.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Mataji.
Yes, this is Shanti Mataji and Govardhana Lila. Please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept our humble obeisances to Mataji. This is Linda
How are you?
Mataji, Demarata, Devidasi. All glories to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada.
Very nice. Did you say Linda Mataji?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm here.
Oh, very nice. So Linda Mataji, I apologize. I needed to call you back. I can do that later this evening, okay?
Okay.
So how is everyone today?
Oh, good. Good. A little busy today. Busy cooking downstairs, and getting ready for the holidays.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Well, I'm not going to be cooking that much for the holidays, let me tell you, because, you know, my family doesn't eat properly. So I have to bring some dishes, you know, prasadam, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, the
Yeah,
things that I can
right.
eat, because they're, you know, I cannot say anything. But, yeah, it will be okay.
Mataji, I think Prablamadri Mataji is unable to speak today, although it's her turn.
Ah,
So, yeah, I think we may all have to take turns to read for her.
sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what verses are we? 6 and 7, maybe?
I think so, Mataji. I also
Hare Krishna.
think.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Oh.
Krishna Manasi Ganga Mataji. Please
Hare
accept our
Krishna.
humble obeisances. All glories to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada.
And please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev.
I think today's verse is listed as only number 6. Verse number 6. Yeah, only one verse.
Yeah,
One.
but it being Friday, if we want to, you know, if we feel that we can go through 2, then that's fine, because it's Friday and it won't ruin anybody else's schedule.
Yes, makes sense. Yeah. So Mataji, I think Prablamadri Mataji is not able to read today because she's sick. So probably we all may have to take turns to read and share.
Okay.
Sure, let's get started then. Yeah. Okay. Om Jnanatinmirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Prapadantikam Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtuti. So Linda Mataji, do you have a book would you like to read?
Sure, Mataji. Okay. So I believe we are in Kansas. I'm sorry?
No, I was asking other
Linda Mataji. I'm confused. Yeah. Forgive me.
Yeah, I understand. You both have the same. Yeah. So who is on the call? Manasi Ganga Mataji, Govardhana Lila Mataji, Linda Mataji, myself and Premarasa? Or are there more devotees on the call? Shanti Mataji. Hare Krishna, Shanti Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Shanti.
Anyone
Hare
else?
Krishna, Mataji.
Oh.
So good to hear your voice. Same here,
Shanti Mataji, do you have a book?
No, I don't have a book, Mataji.
You don't have a book, okay. Okay. So Linda Mataji, would you like to read? Else Govardhana Lila Mataji can read. Okay. Govardhana Lila Mataji, maybe you can start and then she can join if I think she reads from the internet.
Okay. All right, so we're in Canto 2, Chapter 10, Text 6. Mirodo Sayanu Shayanam Atmana Saha Shaktibihi Muktir Hits Panchata Rupam Sarupena Ayavastiti. Translation: the merging of the living entity along with his conditional living tendency with the mystic lying down of the Mahavishnu is called the winding up of the cosmic manifestation. Liberation is the permanent situation of the form of the living entity after he gives up the changeable gross and subtle material bodies. Purport: by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. As we have discussed several times, there are two types of living entities. Most of them are ever liberated, or nitya muktas, while some of them are ever conditioned. The ever conditioned souls are apt to develop a mentality of lording over the material nature. And therefore, the material cosmic creation is manifested to give the ever-conditioned souls two kinds of facilities. One facility is that the conditioned soul can act according to his tendency to lord it over the cosmic manifestation. And the other facility gives the conditioned soul a chance to come back to Godhead. So after the winding up of the cosmic manifestation, most of the conditioned souls merge into the existence of the Mahavishnu personality of Godhead, lying in his mystic slumber to be created again in the next creation. But some of the conditioned souls who follow the transcendental sound in the form of Vedic literatures and are thus able to go back to Godhead attain spiritual and original bodies after quitting the conditional, gross, and subtle material bodies. The material conditional bodies develop, the material conditional bodies develop out of the living entity's forgetfulness of their relationship with Godhead. And during the course of the cosmic manifestation, the conditioned souls are given a chance to revive their original status of life with the help of revealed scriptures, so mercifully compiled by the Lord in his different incarnations. Reading or hearing, reading or hearing of such transcendental literatures helps one become liberated even in the conditional state of material existence. All the Vedic literatures aim at devotional service to the personality of Godhead. And as soon as one is fixed upon this point, he at once becomes liberated from conditional life. The material gross and subtle forms are simply due to the conditioned soul's ignorance. And as soon as he is fixed in the devotional service of the Lord, he becomes eligible to be freed from the conditioned state. This devotional service is transcendental attraction for the Supreme on account of his being the source of all pleasing humors. Everyone is after some pleasure of humor for enjoyment, but does not know the supreme source of all attraction. Rasovai sa rasam hi ivanyam lavananti bhavati. The Vedic hymns inform everyone about the supreme source of all pleasure, The unlimited fountainhead of all pleasure is the personality of Godhead. And one who is fortunate enough to get this information through transcendental literatures like Srimad Bhagavatam becomes permanently liberated to occupy his proper place in the kingdom of God. Wow. Is everybody still on the call?
Yes, Mataji. Would you like to share anything, Mataji?
Oh, do you want me to?
Yeah,
okay.
we can start and yeah.
Okay. Let me go back to the translation. Let me read that one more time. The merging of the living entity, along with his conditional living tendency, with the mystic lying down of the Mahavishnu, is called the winding up of the cosmic manifestation. Just a minute, I can't turn the page. Liberation is the permanent situation of the form of the living entity after he gives up the changeable growth and subtle material bodies. So in this purport, Srila Prabhupada is explaining what happens to the living entity when at the end of the age, let's say. I'm not sure it's the whole winding up of the cosmic manifestation after Kali Yuga, I believe that occurs. After there's 4 yugas, right? Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dvapara Yuga, and then the Kali Yuga. And this, of course, being the most degraded age. So when this particular age ends, the living entity and everything that this living entity has done winds up going back into Mahavishnu, the body of Mahavishnu, who's lying in the causal ocean. Now this is the end. And Prabhupada talks here about 2 types of living entities. Okay, they're the entity, the Nitya Muktas, who are ever liberated, and then there are some living entities who are ever conditioned. They continuously want to lord it over the material nature. They constantly want to be in control, and instead of understanding their true nature, they believe they are in control, and so these types of souls seem to keep coming back lifetime after lifetime. They're ever conditioned, it seems. Maybe because they never learned their lesson, they don't come easily to spiritual life. And so these souls, they have to keep coming back and taking another body. So Prabhupada's saying there's one facility is that the conditioned soul can act according to his tendency to lord it over the cosmic manifestation. The other one the other facility gives the conditioned soul a chance to come back to Godhead. So even in this conditioned life, which in Kali Yuga is very, very difficult, a world of tremendous suffering, and where it's very hard to find people who are really spiritual. It's very, very hard. So even in this conditioned life, we do have a chance to go back to Godhead, and we know what that process is. But when this cosmic manifestation ends, you know, during when the annihilation happens, and these living entities who are conditioned in such a way, you know, it's like they never learn their lesson. The sin, the tendency to want to do everything, you know, they think that they are the masters of this universe. And you know, they've been coming for lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes, but most of these souls merge back again into the existence of Mahavishnu. Okay, and of course he's lying in that causal ocean in his mystic slumber. And of course, when the next creation happens, again, these same souls will come back with their conditioning. They see, because they don't just go back into the body of Mahavishnu and start all over again. They come back and they start where they left off. In many cases, that isn't very far, right? Because many of them have never learned who they really are and who God is and what their relationship is to God, why they're here and where they're going. So they come back again in the next creation. And once again, they're given that chance, you know, as living entities, because we are a part of the marginal energy. We have a choice. We have a choice to choose Krishna or not to choose Krishna. So they have that chance to do it again. You know, if they can come to Krishna, well, that things can change for them. It's just some of the conditioned souls who follow the transcendental sound in the form of Vedic literatures are thus able to go back to Godhead and attain spiritual bodies. Our original bodies were once spiritual. So we go back to the same position we were in before we came into this material soup. And let's see, once we right, if we are able to take to this Krishna consciousness, and there are many ways it can happen, and one of the ways is just through hearing the Vedic literatures, hearing kirtan, you know, chanting the Maha Mantra, hearing the Lord, the holy name of the Lord through the sound vibration. There are many different ways it can happen, and one of the ways is through the Vedic literatures. And if one can absorb and really hear, they have good oral reception and understand, wait a minute, you know, I am not the master of this universe, and, you know, there is a God, and, you know, he is all powerful, and it is he who makes this whole world function. Without him, you know, I wouldn't even be here. You know, when that knowledge starts to happen through understanding the Vedic literatures, some of these conditioned souls can change and have a chance to go back home, back to Godhead. And that's the Vedic literatures are thus so powerful. They are not ordinary literature. This is transcendental literature. It's just not ordinary. So when they quit their bodies, if they have absorbed this Vedic knowledge, this transcendental knowledge, they have that opportunity to go back home, back to Godhead, and their gross conditioned body, their subtle and gross conditioned body quits. It ends. Okay, and so they will develop the spiritual a body that they originally had before they came here, because this conditioned place, this whole cosmic manifestation was given to us because we wanted it. And also we need to remember that when each time we come back, you know, probably many of us, I know for myself, I've probably been here millions of times, because I never got the message. Okay, each time we come back, we forget. We forget what happened in the previous life, for instance, and sometimes we don't know why we're suffering certain types of karma, and, because we can't remember what happened in the past life. And also, we forget, the reason we're here is because we originally forgot our relationship with the Lord. We had at one time in the spiritual world a relationship with the Lord. And we have forgotten that. And that's why we end up in this material existence, with these material bodies, with this material conditioning. And so, okay. So once again, it is saying, just what I kind of pointed out, it's reiterated here, that once again, when the universe manifests again, the conditioned souls are given a chance to revive their original status of life, their original Krishna consciousness, our original relationship with the Lord, what it was once like, and our spiritual essence and spiritual bodies. And of course, through this is, how is this done? Through the help of revealed scriptures, right? And of course, there's more. Reading or hearing of such transcendental literatures helps one become liberated, even in the conditional state of material existence. So I was pointing that out yesterday, that, and not to be, it was not, to me, not a depressing thought that, hey, wait a minute, this is a pretty depressing place quite a bit of the time. However, that there is so much hope that I can be liberated when I just change my activities, my work, everything I do in the service of Krishna. And once I'm doing that, then even in this material state, in this conditional state, I can experience liberation. At least the idea of happiness only will exist in this dovetailing my service, not to myself or what I, me, and my want, but giving it to the Lord and say, this is for your pleasure, Lord, all of it. I'm going to just give you, I'm going to surrender to you my whole life, everything in it, and because this is for you. This is your creation, and I am your creation. Okay, and so why do we have these material, gross, and subtle bodies? It's because we are ignorant of our original, we're ignorant of who we really are and our true position. What, wow. So when we have become fixed in devotional service, I don't care if it's the 10,000th life or the 3 millionth life, whatever life it is, where we come to it, where we can absorb this transcendental knowledge and become fixed in devotional service, that's when we become eligible to be free from the conditioned state. Of course, my thought is always that it has to be perfect. In order to go back home, back to Godhead, I have to one must become purified of all of these tendencies to want to lord it over the material nature, and the tendency to sin, the tendency to commit offenses in any way. So that's what I think it means to be fixed in devotional service, because one can perform devotional service and not really be one can be performing these types of services and say it's for the Lord, but maybe one's heart is not fully in it. But if one is endeavoring, sincerely endeavoring, then Krishna will reciprocate. He understands, he knows the state we're in. And of course, this is completely based on the mercy of the Lord. He can do whatever he wants, but I think that to be sincere and to really try to please the Lord, even if it's not done perfectly, is considered very acceptable to the Lord. So when we become attracted to the Supreme Lord and really understand that he is the source of everything, every bit of happiness, all humor, all everything that exists, he is the source of it all, then hold on. We become attracted. That's all for the Lord, and of course, like I said, that true knowledge in the heart allows us to become fixed in our devotional service. So what are some of the reasons? When we walk around, everyone wants to be happy, okay? And everyone wants to seek pleasure. That's what the living entity is like. However, if we're not aware of where the original source of pleasure comes from, that's when we end up in this conditioned state over and over and over again, because we think that, I love the Lord. I'm chanting, I'm doing this service, that service, but I want some pleasure. I want some other type of enjoyment outside of the Lord. And that is when we go back. It's not that it's an offense, it just keeps us bound to this material existence, attached to it, and very hard to let go of it because we are trying to enjoy outside of the Lord. And as in many religions, if I know in coming from my particular background, that was what I was told was the reason why we were here in the first place. And it is also what is stated in the Vedas, that because of our desire to enjoy outside of the Lord, not believing that the Lord is our supreme power, and that any kind of attraction for anything in this world actually comes from the Lord. Okay. And of course, the Vedas, when we're reading this transcendental knowledge, we come to understand that it is that the Lord is the source of all pleasure. He's unlimited. He's the fountainhood of all pleasure. And if we get this type of transcendental knowledge through the literature, like the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam, then we can become permanently liberated, okay, to occupy a proper place in the kingdom of God, which exists outside of this material manifestation. So that's kind of my explanation for it. And I'm sure the other Matajis have other things to add. Please feel free to correct me or add whatever. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Govardhana Lila Mataji.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mataji. It was very nice explanation, although it was a very last minute thing, but you explained all the points nicely, like went through the whole purport without missing anything. It's very nice. I was actually, when I was remembering a few things that I was recently hearing. So, you were sharing about this, how Krishna is the source of all pleasures. I was hearing a class by Rompad Maharaj, and the class is titled as How to Become Dear to Krishna. So I thought that it was a very interesting title, so I went and heard that class several times. So he was actually explaining that, there are many points that he covered, but few of the things that I remember is that he was actually sharing a pastime of Yudhishthir Maharaj, and he was sharing that Yudhishthir Maharaj used to every day morning take his bath, do his daily rituals, and he used to worship Krishna. So one time it so happened that he finished his rituals, like his morning duties, and then he worshipped Krishna, and then he wanted to go and meet Krishna also. So he went and he was sitting waiting for Krishna, because Krishna at the time was actually meditating. And Krishna was meditating so deeply that he didn't even know that Yudhishthira Maharaj was there. And his meditation went for a very, very long time. And Yudhishthira Maharaj was sitting there and he was actually waiting very patiently. So after the whole, after his meditation was over, Krishna came and Yudhishthira Maharaj asked him, so what were you actually meditating upon? So Krishna said that I was actually meditating upon Bhishma Dev. Because Bhishma Dev actually, although he was on the bed of the arrows, still at the time of his death, he thought about me, or he remembered me. So because he remembered me at the moment of his death, I remember him at every moment. And Krishna, so Maharaj was actually explaining about this, that because of this pastime that Krishna always remembers Bhishma Dev, one of Krishna's names is Vasumana. So we talked about this few days earlier. So Mana means to remember, and Vasu is that Bhishma Dev, before he was Bhishma Dev, he was one of the Vasus. So his Krishna is glorified also as Vasumana. So Maharaj is actually sharing that Bhishma Dev is one person who, in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he had challenged Krishna, or he had challenged, actually not Krishna, but Arjuna. And he said that I'm going to kill you tomorrow before sunset. Knowing very well that Arjuna is the dearmost friend of Krishna. Bhishma Dev knew that. And despite that, he challenged Arjuna. And he told Krishna that if you can protect him, you can protect him, because I'm going to kill him tomorrow on the battlefield before the sunset. So Maharaj was explaining that Bhishma Dev knew very well that Krishna will break his vow in order to protect his devotees. And he actually breaks his vow, because for Krishna, protection of his devotees means more than his own word. And it is said that Krishna has everything. There is nothing that we can actually give him. He's not, he has all beauty, he has all fame, he has all wealth, he has all strength, he has all renunciation. What can we give him? What can we give Krishna? But the only thing that attracts him is the love that the devotee has for Krishna. So that's the only thing by which one can attract the attention of Krishna. So here actually he says raso vai saha means that rasa means that taste, or I don't know what it, you can, I think Prabhupada he translates it as mellow. So any mellow, Krishna is the source of all mellows. Like he basically has everything, and from him everything is coming. So to such a person, can we actually give anything? Not possible. There is nothing that we can actually give him, except that to recognize him as our dear Lord and to pray to him for his eternal shelter. And that's the only thing that attracts Krishna. So here there is so much of emphasis on devotional service that it's the only way by which one can go back home, back to Godhead. And that's why he says that this material world is created. Actually, today we were talking about some of Indrajimna Maharaj's, like he shared, he has a book that's called Traveling Monk, Diary from a Traveling Monk, I think that's what it's called. And I was actually reading one of the stories some months back. Somehow I don't know why I remembered it. So actually there is a girl who, when Indrajimna Maharaj was traveling in Russia, so this girl's mother meets Maharaj in one of his classes, and she tells Maharaj that, Maharaj, my daughter has been waiting to see you for a very, very long time. For many, many years she's waiting. Is it possible that you can come to our house and visit us? Like visit my daughter. And while she was saying this, Maharaj could actually feel that she was asking from all her heart. She really had like tears in her eyes when she said it. So Maharaj agreed, although his schedule was very busy, but still he agreed. So next day morning, he was thinking of going along with his servant, and even during that time, he leaves the apartment. But still at that moment, he has some confusion, not just confusion, but it's more like he's thinking whether or not to go. Is this so important for me because I have so many other things to go on? But should I go? Should I not go? He was thinking like that. So finally he decides to go, and when he enters the apartment, he actually sees that the whole building was a very, very old building, and like even to touch the railing to take the stairs to go up to her house, it was very dirty. It was like he didn't even feel like touching, and it was damp and dark. It was not a good place. Somehow he went up to the apartment or the condo where this mother was living. So he opens the door, or he knocks at the door, and then he actually sees that the place that she was living, the mother, it was so neatly organized inside. Like everything was absolutely clean, with no speck of dust. Very nicely organized, very little furniture, but extremely well organized. So he sits and then he asks the mother, so you said your daughter wants to meet me. Where is your daughter? And she says, Maharaj, please come. I want to take you. So she takes him to a room, and the room actually is the room where they have their altar. And this girl is actually sitting in front of the altar, and she was chanting. So Maharaj asks her, so you said you wanted to meet me, so I would like to know, what do you do
So she said that I chant. So Maharaj asked her, what do you do? Or apart from chanting, what do you do? And then she says that I chant. So then the mother replied, and the mother said that, oh, she chants all day. So Maharaj asked her, really, are you able to chant all day? And then she said that few years ago, somehow she was very inclined to do service, and somehow I think it was some 9 years or 10 years ago. So somehow her hands and her legs, they both stopped working. I think it was an accident or something. I don't know the detail. Cannot remember the details so clearly. So she said that, oh, I met with an accident and my hands and my legs don't work anymore. So Maharaj said, oh, I'm very sorry to hear your condition. And she said that, Maharaj, I know many of the devotees who are always running here and there, trying to do so many different things. But Krishna has given me this very special benediction where I can sit in one place all day and be immersed in his holy name. So Maharaj was just
Wonderful.
so touched. Yes.
Mm.
So Maharaj was so touched that he had tears in his eyes, and he asked her, so don't you feel sad for your situation? And she said that, no, Maharaj, I have your unconditional mercy, and I know that no matter what situation I am in, you are there for me. So Maharaj writes this, and then he says that really some souls, although like we may have so many things for us, for ourselves, but then we can always find reasons to complain. But then sometimes Krishna may choose to take away everything from the life of a devotee, except that his holy name is there for them, and the access that they can go back to home could be there, but is there, but all the other things could be taken away from them. So even if you look at devotees like that, then we actually feel there is no reason for us to complain for the little things that we have to go through every day, and so we can take more deeper shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. Actually, there are a lot of things, Madhurya. It's also hearing another class by Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was actually giving the distinction between how a materialistic person thinks and how a devotee thinks. So he was actually sharing that a materialistic person, he always looks at what is going good for him. And when something is going good for him, then he says that, oh, I did this, so I got this. I did this, so I got this. But as soon as something goes wrong, he immediately blames it to God. And then he goes to the temple and then he starts telling God that, oh God, why did you do this to me? And Prabhupada is saying that on a contrary, actually a devotee, when something good happens to him, he gives the credit to Krishna. And when something doesn't happen well, then they say that, oh, it's my fault. So it's that reflection that we are all acting upon. Like we say that we are in a spiritual reflection of a spiritual world as a material world. So it's exactly opposite. The way we think is exactly opposite to the way we are supposed to think. So yesterday in the class we were all talking about how strong Maya is and so many different things. So I was remembering to share this yesterday, but I know that yesterday we went over time, so I thought that I'll share it some other time. Yeah, so that's all I had to share. Sorry, I was remembering different things yesterday and today. So.
Well, thank you very much, Prema Rasa Mataji. You know, even in my own life, I mean, this is very simplistic, but it just shows the example. You know, I have an aunt who's supposedly a very pious religious woman. She's prays all the time in front of people. She's, she goes through so many ritualistic things. She does her prayers, her mass. It's just a constant thing with her. And she's been like that since she was very, very young. And, I haven't, and she has a lot of money. There's the thing, loaded with money. Her whole family, she comes from a family, they're all doctors, they have lots of money. Her husband was my uncle who passed away, and, the whole family had a lot of money. And I have an uncle, this is a separate uncle, this is not her husband. He has absolutely nothing. He's dirt poor. He is, he's living in practically in squalor in Mississippi, and it's almost like his house is ready to cave in. He's so poor. Okay. And both of them have been sick. And, you're talking about the different responses. She has been, in and out of the hospital over and over and over again with Crohn's disease, and just very ill. Bowel obstruction, pain that's just unbearable. And my uncle, they found out this other uncle who lives in this squalor, he has something on his brain. They think it's a tumor, or it could be malignant. Okay, he's been falling all the time, and he's unable to balance himself. And it's interesting to me the different responses of the two. When he found out about this tumor, everybody was like, "Oh my goodness!" And he's so pious. He said, "I'm not going to worry about it." He said, "God is with me. He's protecting me. If I have to go, He's calling me. I'm fine with that. If I fall, if I break my neck, it's okay. It's totally fine with me." And I was telling my aunt, I said, she asked about him. She said, "Is he okay? This is the one who has the Crohn's disease and a lot of money, and who says she's very, very religious." And she said, "If I had a brain tumor or something like that, and they weren't going to give me proper examinations, because they're going to wait 2 or 3 months to give him an examination." They had, okay. And he said, "I don't care. I'm not worried about it." With her, she said, "I would demand immediately that they examine me. Okay. I would want to know right now, and they better take care of me, and they better get rid of this tumor." And, I looked at the two, and it's just that some people, like you said, the one, the woman who was praying all the time, okay, and she had no use of certain limbs, but she could pray all the time to Krishna, and this was like a benediction, right? Because that was a special thing that not everybody can do that. So here she was placed in this very difficult physical predicament, and yet she could chant the holy names. What a benediction, and I'm looking, I don't know if I made sense with the two of them. I have the uncle extremely loves the Lord. It constantly talks about God, and he means it. And she did say that to me. She said, "Oh yeah, I know he's not, he doesn't have anything, the poor guy, but one thing he does have is God." He has his God. It's not an exact analogy, but that's what was coming to my mind when we were reading all of this. And just that, which one is truly sincere, which one is truly understanding his position and his he said, "Well, I'll just keep praying, that's all. I'm fine. I'm going to be fine. And if I'm not fine," he said, "that's okay too. I can die. That's okay." What an attitude. It's wonderful. I don't know how I would react in such a situation. I don't know.
Thank you so much for sharing, Mataji. It's a very like a touching experience to hear although they may not be connected to Krishna consciousness, but still, like, some people are real devotees, actually.
Yes.
It is said that, like, one may not be at the right time or the right place, in the right situation, but if their consciousness is right, then everything feels right. Everything is right. There is this example that it's given where Haridas Thakur was beaten in so many different marketplaces. Like, he was at the wrong, or I would say that it is a Leela. It's definitely a pastime, but his consciousness was right at that time, and that's what meant most. Like, he was praying for those people who were beating him.
Mm-hmm.
He was not so much concerned about his own self. And on the other hand, if we see, then we have, let's say, Amrish Maharaj and Durvasa Muni. So in Durvasa Muni, like, he is such a great sage, but then he was actually so proud for what of the positions he had. And Amrish Maharaj was completely undisturbed, no matter what happened. So the Sudarshan Chakra is coming, and he is just remembering Krishna. That's
what I was trying to talk about. Yes.
Yeah.
It was Ambarish Maharaj, yes?
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. You know, the truly sincere love of God is obvious in these, but this Ambarish Maharaj obviously was a very, he was not like one of the jivas, right? And he all he was thinking about was Krishna. But I do have an uncle like that. He has never had anything all his life, and people would make fun of him, this and this and this, and he would always say, "You have to trust the Lord. You have to trust the Lord." That's all we have. Trust the Lord. So I thought that, that was that's what it was. When you were talking about Ambarish Maharaj, it reminded me of this uncle who just, it didn't matter what happens to his body. He said, "No, I give it to God. I don't know. It doesn't matter what happens to me."
Yeah, you have to have Shwara. Shwara is the main thing. You have to have faith.
Yes, Mataji.
Without Shwara, there's nothing. There's nothing.
Yes, Mataji, thank you for sharing. Anybody else? I don't know. Anybody else would like to add or share?
Thank you both for the nice discussion.
Manasi Ganga Mataji, would you like to share anything? Shanti Mataji, Linda Mataji, any of you would like to share anything else?
I just said I am so grateful. This is Linda. I am so grateful for these classes. You don't know how much love I feel in my heart for with these classes. Yeah, we're learning the classical Sanskrit, Hindi, and I loved it. I love it. It's wonderful.
really, Srila Prabhupada has made everything so accessible for us. Something that is so difficult to obtain has become accessible to all of us through His mercy.
Yes.
So it's very nice.
Yes, it is.
Mataji. Thank you. Okay. So shall we end here? Manasi Ganga Mataji was asking if all of us are available to read next week, because I think next week, no, the week after that is Christmas, right? Not the coming week.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that this weekend is, well, not this one that we're in, but the following weekend is the seminar. So I was wondering, I don't know if people are going to be busy preparing for that. So if they are, then send me a text or an email so I won't put you on the schedule on those days.
Yeah. Mataji, from Friday is the seminar. So it goes all the way until Tuesday. So I'm just giving you the date. From Monday, from Friday through Tuesday.
Yeah, I don't know if people are going to be preoccupied preparing. I don't know if there's preparation needed or what. That's what I was talking about.
Yes, ma'am.
So Friday, should we not have class or should we have class?
Mataji, it's up to you. If people want to attend the seminar through YouTube, then they can attend the seminar. But if people are unable to attend and if they want to have class, that's fine too. But there will be less attendance.
So Friday, Monday, and Tuesday, are they leaving early Tuesday or how's that working? It's probably an early day, so maybe Tuesday. Is Tuesday Christmas though?
Yes.
So
yes, Tuesday.
Yeah. I'm thinking maybe the last class on Thursday and resume on Wednesday. Is that what we want to do? Okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Good idea. Okay.
Mataji, and there is one other thing. On 18th, Niranjan Maharaj will be here in Chicago. So I'm not sure like how many of the devotees here plan to attend his seminar. I mean, not seminar, sorry, his class.
Yeah, Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday, Gita Jayanti. Yeah.
So why don't on Tuesday then I just put, we can read like our favorite verses from Gita if anybody's gonna be on the class. Is that good?
Sure, I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
Okay, Mataji, thank you all for joining. We'll continue again from Monday. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.